Welcome to Money Conversations with KJ. KJ is a lifelong entrepreneur who's made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, and found his way back again. If you're looking for a sterile how-to, you're in the wrong place. KJ and his guests will walk you through real-life situations told by the people who live them, and they are as messy as they are inspiring. Each episode will offer lessons learned, advice on how to replicate successes and avoid pitfalls, and a new perspective to power your financial literacy. Far from a one-size-fits-all, this podcast can help you build a roadmap to your personal promised land. Milk and honey for some, whiskey and steak for others, and remind you that you're not alone on this journey.
Hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Today, I'm super excited. I've got a lady here that I've known, what do you think, Cheri-Lynn? Maybe 4 or 5 years?
Yeah,
roughly
4 or 5 years.
Miss Cheri-Lynn Burke, fantastic lady. I think you're all going to get a tremendous value. I don't know half your stories, but I know a lot of your stories, and they're all amazing. We always have great conversations. So I know that you guys out there are going to get a lot of good content from her, and we're going to have some fun while we're at it. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Kevin.
So Cheri-Lynn, what we want to do today is give value in the area for the folks out there, some financial literacy things that you've done out there in your life, and we're gonna start way back as far as we can take this thing. So as we go through here, and I got some topics that I want to talk to you about that I wrote on the board over there, and we'll kind of go through them and see what we can give back to the audience. So again, welcome to the podcast. So I want to talk to you about, I try to get everybody to go back as far as they can. And I had one gentleman get all the way back to when he was 5 years old. I can't go that far back, but take me as far back as you can remember when money started to really be a tool that you would use and use it responsibly. How old do you think you were?
Responsibly, huh?
Or understanding, money.
Well, I think probably maybe 5 or 6.
Okay.
When I actually am, I'm a baby boomer, so I had lemonade stand for sure. Uh-huh. We even sold snowballs.
Okay.
So I think I was always a bit of an entrepreneur. And I wanted money because I wanted to, if I went into the store, maybe I wanted some gum or a candy. Or go to the movies for 5 cents.
So even at that young age, you had to earn your money for the things you wanted. Mom and dad were not ready to just give you, in today's world, parents give their kids money until they're older, actually. So, you grew up in a different time like I did where, yes, if we wanted things, we had the lemonade stands, the paper routes, and all these little things that we could do on the corner, which parents won't even allow their kids to barely do today, right?
Right.
So how did that shape you when you were able to understand to trade some sort of value to somebody and get paid for it? How did that start to shape your mindset around money?
Well, I was brought up that it was good to have money. If you had money, then you could do whatever pretty much that you wanted. So I wanted money. And if I wanted something, of course, I'd ask my parents. And I would say probably 50% of the time they would say yes, and 50% of the time they'd say no. And when they said no, then I'd have to figure out in my brain how I would be able to get whatever it was that I wanted. So I knew that money bought what you wanted.
Okay, and you learned that at a very young age. I think you could probably agree in today's world, kids probably don't figure that out till they're, as old as 18 to 20. Would you agree?
Yes, or older.
Or older, right?
Uh-huh.
And some never learn, right? When did you learn the value of saving? Like, not just for us to go to the movies or just very small things, but when the value really of saving?
Well, this might be a little embarrassing and shocking, but I actually learned the value of saving when I was 64.
Okay.
So just before average retirement at 65 is when I really learned about saving. So I was not a saver. I've always been an entrepreneur, but I think I spent I was just a spender. And I didn't have, honestly, financial literacy at all until I was in my 60s.
Excuse me. That's interesting because I'm sure there's a lot of people that probably wouldn't admit that. It's pretty awesome that you admit that it's not too late to learn financial literacy and understand that, like, you know what, I have to save money for a purpose, obviously, to be able to achieve the financial goals that I want, because I know that you've already definitely achieved some good financial goals. Great lesson for the people that are out there. One, don't think if you're in your 40s, 50s, that it's too late for me.
Never too late.
It's never too late. And that you must learn how to save, but save with a purpose. And we'll talk about that a little more. Because if people give up, then you're definitely going to work till you die. Would you agree?
Yes, I will agree.
And you want to be able to work, not because you have to, but because you want to. Right? I mean,
exactly.
I know you do what you do for a living because you absolutely love it. You just have a huge passion for it, which is helping people on a different level other than money, because that's what you enjoy, right? So it's not even work. It's just, you're giving good value out there and obviously getting compensated for it, which is great. But let's go back to then, if you were in your, 64 years old, till you kind of figured out, holy mackerel, I got to save money. What during all these other years? So I know that you got kids, so you became, your 20s or whatever and had some kids. What were you thinking back then? What was your mindset with money? And then what was your mindset with money with your kids?
That's another good question, Kevin. So I married very well.
Oh.
So I was one of those fortunate women that married someone who had tremendous potential. So I lived a beautiful lifestyle for a lot of years. And money was never a question, or it was never, it was always there. As I said before, I'm an entrepreneur. And even though I married well, I felt this need that I needed to do something. So I always had a little something going on, whether it was clothing business, frozen yogurt, whatever. I always had a little something going on.
Kind of a side hustle deal.
Kind of a side hustle because, see, my husband gave me an allowance.
Oh.
And allowance just started grating on me that I had to literally ask. He would give me, of course, every week money, but if I needed more, I had to ask, and that's when I decided that I needed to have my own money. And that's really started my venture into the business world. Not that I knew anything, except for, if I'm going to sell something, it has to be something that I would buy.
Right. So you just developed an entrepreneurial spirit, right? And I think a lot of people have the entrepreneurial spirit. But now that you've been an entrepreneur for a lot of years, and you probably understand, one of the things I talk about with some folks who say, hey, I want to start this business. What do you think? What's it like being a business owner? Because I've been a business owner for most of my life, my early 20s. And I just give one piece of advice and only one, because I don't care if you want to open up a pizza parlor or any brick and mortar, whatever type of business. I just tell people, listen, until you're ready to eat, sleep, think 24/7, 365 about this business that you think you want to get into, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not a job. It's definitely a 24/7, 365 deal, right? Would you agree?
I would agree.
And how long, so people who have that entrepreneur spirit, and you did, how long did it take you to figure that out?
You mean that I was buying jobs when I would buy a business?
Exactly.
It took me about 5-6 years because I did have 2 frozen yogurt stores.
Okay.
And when I walked away from that, I said never again would I have a brick and mortar, that there has to be a better way. So.
Yeah, because it was just monopolizing your time, I'm sure.
Well, that, and you have employees.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know if someone's going to come in or not come in. Now, I literally bought myself a job.
Right. And again, I don't want to discourage people out there from wanting to follow whatever dreams they have about opening whatever business. I just want you to understand that, like, Cheri-Lynn is describing, don't buy a job. Have yourself be educated enough in business to put, as we know now, processes and systems together that you can outsource and unplug yourself. Because if you had 2 stores, and there's plenty of people, again, we know lots of different franchise chains where are run smoothly because of systems, right? And then that's different. That's not being a true business owner. That's really being a true entrepreneur, right?
Correct.
So you went down that route, right? You got married. And again, when you explain how you had a husband that, gave you money, I think I'm a man. I'm like, guys just don't get that opportunity, right? I mean, there are probably a couple of guys out there, right? But it's got to be far few between where a man can marry a woman and that role is reversed kind of thing. So, listen, you ladies, if you're out there and you maybe are fortunate enough, right, to have a husband do that, and you want to start a business because you want to make your side hustle. You're like, hey, my husband gives me $X a week, but I need/want more. And you talk to your husband, hey, I want to start this little business. Let's just understand, you're getting ready to put yourself in buying a job.
Yes.
So be careful what you wish for. But if that's your passion and you're going to jump in with 2 feet, and like I said, unless you can really make the commitment of knowing you're going to be 24/7, 365, at least the first 2 to 3 years till you build a reputation, I don't suggest doing it. Let's talk about, so you went a ways before you figured out the savings. So during those years that you were trying all these different businesses, where did you park money, or you just raised your lifestyle?
I would say I just raised my lifestyle. I never parked any money. I was married. I was married for 22 years. It really wasn't until I was divorced and then on my own that I realized that I needed to do something. And that's when I proceeded to get a job, which I found out very shortly that I was psychologically unemployable and working for someone else was very difficult for me. So, but I did because I had to. And then I've just honestly led a very blessed life. I make friends with individuals that share information with me that guide me into a better places. So for many years, I didn't really have to worry about money, even though I didn't really have any. It really wasn't until I stepped out into the abyss and went from my little nest of Ojai, California, down to Orange County and got a real live job that I actually started making money, and my education on financial literacy began. And it began with my son. Oh. So I didn't teach him because all they can remember is their dad and I arguing about money.
Right.
They taught me.
So as you're telling me this story, I'm thinking your mindset with money is a journey in itself. As parents, we want to, teach our kids everything in life, and it all starts with the right mindset. But your mindset has really been a journey of its own, because at that young age of the lemonade stand, knowing that you had to give value to get money so you could go have the, little enjoyments of life at, 5 to 7 years old. But then you had, the opportunity where you had a husband that was giving you the money. So your mindset then was totally different. It was like, well, I just get money, I don't have to. But then it shifted again later in life. And I think the good point to this would be this for the people out there, that I think your money mindset is a journey and will change over time, right? As we learn the things that we should learn, right? And be open to having instead of a fixed mindset, an open mindset, right? Correct. There's a lot of people out there that will struggle with a fixed mindset because of your belief systems that, no, this is what I was taught, this is the way I have to do things. Where if you're not open to hearing the other side of the story and understanding it's just a time I need to make a mindset shift, which you learned basically out of necessity, because you had to go get, a regular job and start and figure out your own, thinking about money and whatnot. And then as you got older, it really started to kick in. Like, man, I've got to put money to work because money grows because of time, right? And we have to. The older we get, the less time we have for money to grow. And then we have to. And you already know this lesson. We have to learn how to make money on a higher level and start to get those double-digit interest returns on multiple levels, right? Not just one. So let's fast forward then. As you went through the different mindset shifts through your life, doing what you did, you're a very passionate woman, and when you really fall in love with what you believe, you're all in, right?
100%.
You don't dip your toes.
No toe dipping.
No toe dipping, because you and I both know there's a lot of toe dippers out there. Make a commitment to whatever it is you're going to do, whatever you think you're passionate about. And passions can change, right? Your passions have changed over the years.
Oh, yes.
And it's okay to change passions. And again, there's no right or wrong, I don't think. I think that follow your passions as far as you can, but we're all in this journey of life, and it's going to have its turns all the time. So as I think with the mindset with you, with the folks that are out there, don't beat yourself up if it's been a few years and you didn't get it right, because it's not too late to adjust your mindset to do the right things with money. Would you agree?
I would agree. I would most definitely agree. And I have gone through 2 bankruptcies, one while I was married, and it didn't affect me. And then I actually myself went through a bankruptcy. So I know what it's like to have it all go away. But I also know what it's like to have the drive to bring it back. So I think it does start with mindset, but my big push was personal growth. So when I moved from Ojai to Orange County is when I really dove deep into personal growth. And I think that is life-changing when you start believing in yourself.
Right. Huge. It triggers me to think that, bankruptcy has a huge negative mindset about people. Like, some people judge people for bankruptcy, but, there's a lot of different reasons why people need to, file BK and restart. Mm-hmm. And it's okay that you do that. You're not a bad person if you file BK. And some people would, tend to like to look down on people. Oh, you filed BK, you must be a terrible person. But you and I both know that's not true. It's just circumstances of life that hopefully, like any failures we all have in life, we learn from them. Right. So once you learn from that and come back and maybe even share those learnings, what you learned from that, friends, family, whoever you can, and try to, because it does affect you. It doesn't seem as it affects people as bad in today's world. And let's say people who BK'd in the 70s and 80s, that was a solid 7 to 10 years. You were on hold. You were a cash person. Today, with technology and our world just moves so much faster than it did back then, you could really recover from BK in less than 2 years.
Yes,
right?
You can.
I want people to understand that, right? Because I know plenty of people have gone through it. I've worked with them as far as rebuilding credit and that and whatnot. You can literally rebuild credit within 12 months of a BK, right? And the whole thing with BK that people are so scared of is like, man, I'll never get to buy another car again. It's going to take forever because nobody will loan me any money. Well, as soon as you know you're going to do that and it's a reset, you have to reset correctly, meaning we got to start paying bills. We got to start paying bills on time. We don't need to overextend ourselves, live within our means, all these types of things. Would you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah. So that's a good learning lesson out there, that you shared, because a lot of people won't share that. They'll hold that tight to their sleeve, thinking like, it's none of your business, I feel shamed or whatever. And I don't think you should. Life just those circumstances to people and those things happen. Let's go forward now. You're in your 60s. You start figuring out money. Your son taught you money. I know your son, fantastic individual, very intelligent. I'm actually going to get him on this podcast, hopefully. Teaching you, hey, Mom, you've been making money because you were making good money. And he says, Mom, you got to put that money to work so you don't have to work. What was one of your first places that you were taught or you decided where to go park money at the age of the early 60s?
I was taught to get myself a 401k, a self-directed 401k.
Okay.
And that was the beginning of my snowball effect to financial freedom now at the ripe old age of 73.
Right.
So yeah, that the 401k, and it might sound a little silly because 401k, what the heck? I wasn't investing it, I was saving it. It became my savings account.
Right.
And was tax-free, of course.
Yep.
That money has worked for me over and over. And you know,
Yes,
Kevin,
I know.
I actually just purchased a home with that money, and it was a loan. So I learned so much what you can do with your own money, with other people's money. It was quite an awakening. I got woke.
You got woke. And it's interesting because even though you got woke at 64, it's not too late. Compound interest works daily, right?
Sure.
And you learned what most people don't know, right? Being able as an entrepreneur to open up your self-directed 401k. There's a lot of vehicles that we can all park money in. The point is to don't park it in the bank. Because the bank's not giving you anything out there. And even right now, you see a lot of, they're pushing the online banks because the online banks give you more than your brick and mortar banks. But it's still, if you truly understand the rule of 72 compound interest, online banks are going to give you about 0.75%, maybe 1%, some of them, versus the brick and mortars that are going to give you a 0.15, 0.25, percent return, which is absolutely nothing. I'll teach you guys the rule of 72 on a different episode, but the rule of 72, understanding, man, you better go learn out there, learn how to start getting returns, minimum 8%, double digit, 10, 12, 15, even 20 or more, which can be done, right? And this is how you can fast track saving your money, putting your money to work, right? Because I know that you also have become a private lender.
I have
right? You've put that money to work. And the beauty about becoming a private lender, guys, once you know how to do it correctly, it's not letting people borrow money, write a check, here you go, Bob, pay it back, and you owe me X interest. You got to set it up correctly. But that's how I like to call it, you can turbocharge your returns because private money is higher risk. But I know a lot of private people out there lending money at 18, 20, 25%. And the thing is, the people that are borrowing that money, if that money's going to make them other larger money, it's just the cost of doing business. That's all it is.
That's right.
So you get to reap the rewards on those earnings versus, letting a mutual fund do it, or, even your 401k isn't going to make double-digit returns. So that's how you were able to fast track your dollars growing, which is amazing. Back to, it's never too late. It's just learning how to play the game, right?
Right.
Learn how to play the game. Like any game, if we don't know the rules, we can't win. So what would be the best advice that you could give maybe a single mom in her early 20s or 30s or whatever on money and how to start growing it? Where should that person start?
Well, there's so much education. It's beautiful that you are actually entering into this. Find yourself a good coach that can teach you, because believe me, I didn't know. I had no idea. All I remember is watching my mother do her bank account every month and make sure that everything came out even. I never did that once. So yes, you do see what your parents do, but it's your decision whether you're going to do it or not. So I never did that. Find yourself a good coach. She wasn't a good coach for me, obviously. But find yourself someone who, first and foremost, find someone successful.
Right.
Find someone that knows what they're doing, that's been there, done that, and is doing that, and can teach you.
Right.
Always start looking up. Don't ask advice from friends that have no money.
Right. Well, you brought up a good point where we need to learn. It could be a mentor, it could be a family member, it could be a friend, always wanting to learn from the right people, obviously, that have already walked that path before you. and have educated themselves and have their own successes, right? I 100% agree to that. There's a lot of ways that we can all win the game, so to speak. And the thing about the game, the money game, is the finish line is different for everybody. You know, when I teach about trying to be financially independent, which means having enough money where your money makes enough interest to pay your lifestyle, whatever your lifestyle is. But you and I both know, we've sat with some people that lifestyles could be $2,000 or $3,000 a month, which is a low lifestyle. There's people out there that want a $20,000 or $30,000 a month lifestyle. So no right or wrong answer. It's whatever is good for you out there that you believe. You know, it doesn't take a lot of money to get a monthly return of $3,000, right? It's not a ton of money working for you. The guy who wants to get $20,000 or $30,000 a month, he's got to have, you know, multiple seven figures working to get that return. So just getting out there and learning it. But what would you say would be your best lesson today? Because here you are, you know, in your early 70s, you're doing, you know, well, where a lot of people would have gave up at 60 and said, oh, that's it. I'm going to go live with my kids. They're going to feed me. I'm going to sit in my chair and just watch the sun go up and down, right? What do you think is your best learning advice for someone late in life thinking it's too late?
Well, that's mindset. So personal growth is, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people that one can listen to, hook into, connect to, that can bring their mindset up. It's never too late. If someone is in that situation, it's very hard to talk them out of it. You have to have a desire yourself. And I've always had a desire. I've never had a desire to have nothing or to have my children take care of me. And they will take care of me if it came to that, for sure. But no parent wants that. Better that we take care of them. We always have. I would say that my best lesson would be just continue. I mean, every morning I wake up grateful to have what I have. Doesn't matter what you have. What I guess really matters is what you want.
Exactly. I think what we want and what we need are two different things. I teach that lesson to my kids, the difference between wants and needs at an early age, because I think a lot of people are in positions of not being financially where they want to be is because they're not really distinguishing wants and needs, right? Obviously, we need to eat. We need food, shelter, clothing, right? And when you're out there and you're, 20 years old, starting to make some money, and let's say for a girl, oh, I got to go buy this handbag. It's $500. Like, what are you doing buying a $500 handbag at 20 years old? You should be learning about, I need to start putting money away, right? Because if these young ones, like I've taught mine, I'm not going to have any worries about my daughter. She's 21 years old and on year 3 of getting ready to have a fully funded, Roth IRA, and just on her way of having great saving habits. But we both know there's just, whether it's the girl buying the $500 purse or the guy wants to go out there and buy a $500, suit instead of a, $150 suit to go to work kind of thing, that put that money to work, right? And then that all comes back to mindset, but there's nobody teaching them these things between wants and needs. So what do you want now?
Me?
Yeah.
Honestly, I would like to have a relationship. I'd like to have a partner in life.
Okay.
So that would be, and I don't even want to say it's a missing, but as long as we're podcasting it, let the universe know that I'm open and ready.
Open and ready.
To share what I got.
If you think you want to come meet Cheri-Lynn, you contact me. I'll put you together for sure. So you're pretty content financially where you're at. I know, because my wife and I are agents and we found you a house. I don't know, it's been 6 or 8 months. Beautiful home. And you've got that, dialed in the way that you want it, and you're living comfortable over there. What kinds of things are you doing, or do you want to aspire to do now with money?
Well, I like giving money and being involved in projects that have to do, especially with children, I'm big on that. That's a good question, Kevin. That will be something now that I'm going to really look at. What is it that I want now? Honestly, I don't know if this podcast is dated, but honestly, what's going on in the world right now, when that's all over, maybe I'll have a clearer vision. I know what I want to happen. So, and once that does, because I get everything that I want.
You bring up a good point, because we're recording this right now. It's mid-October. The pandemic, we're still fully there. We're just, 2 weeks out from the election, and we'll see what happens after that. But I think a lot of people out there are having this mindset of the unknown, right? Because, man, this pandemic could be another year. It could be 2 years wearing these masks and all this stuff. We don't know. It's definitely changing the world around us. But one thing's for sure, as far as finances, the game is not stopping. The game is not pausing. It will move forward. The stock market does what it does every day, which means money's exchanging hands on a daily basis. So get in the game, play the game, know it's long term. If we need to shift the lifestyles that we have because whatever this government decides to do, and, the whole planet actually, so because we're all so interconnected, listen, just make your shifts, right? But keep the mindset with your money, the forward path. Don't try to time the market for sure. That's a losing proposition. And anybody who's in the market will tell you that. Just, if your money's in the market most of our money's in the market at some level, right? If you've got your self-directed 401k, or you guys are out there in your work 401ks or your Roths.
Or if you own a house.
If you own a house, everything is still going to move forward. So I wouldn't panic and not make any good decisions because the unknown of this pandemic is going on, because this thing could be around for a while.
Well, I did make a decision not to have a larger office space during this pandemic, and now I'm back looking for a larger office space. And of course in their election, but I don't even mean about money. I just mean what energy is in the air right now has a lot of us confused. It's kind of like a smog. It's brain smog a little bit. So give me a couple of weeks,
Okay.
and then. But no, I'm not slowing down at all, and nothing has slowed down really for me, even in my business. As a matter of fact, one of my businesses, of course, network marketing, and that never sleeps. It doesn't matter what's going on. That just continues to grow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So I know you have some grown children that had children, right? What are the thing I find that people are out there afraid to talk about money, right? Like it's taboo. You can't talk about my money. I find it sometimes it parallels sex. People don't want to talk about sex either. And we're not going to go down the road of sex, people. But I'm just saying that don't be afraid to talk about money. When you were growing up, did you find that the conversations of money, meaning your personal money, was kind of a taboo conversation?
No, I don't remember that at all.
No?
No. And I didn't grow up with money, for sure. We probably were a little lower middle class family. So no, I never have felt about money. Well, maybe you don't tell people what you have.
Right.
You don't flaunt money.
Okay. I can appreciate that because, there's people out there that want to keep that. I think people with money, but we can always assume people who have money by the cars they drive, the clothes they wear, and the watches and this and that. And I think people try to hide that because they just believe people are going to come around. Can I borrow some money? Right. Which a minute ago, we talked about giving back. Right. And I love to give back. Right. I think giving back is something we all should do at whatever level, because giving back doesn't mean money always either.
Correct.
Right. I give my time. I give my time, and I'd prefer to give instead of actual cash money to people. I'm really along the lines of Tony Robbins. He's fed millions of people in his career, and so I, even at the smallest level, when I sitting again, in a decent position, a better position, I did it about 3 weeks ago. I just woke up one day, feeling my gratitudes in the morning, as I always do, and I said, I want to feed 3 people today. And I put it out in the universe. who can I help today? Go buy $100 worth of groceries, because there's a lot of people hurting that can't even get food right now. And so that's a good way of giving, as small as it may be to some. The people that receive on the receiving end was huge. So for you guys out there, give whatever you can. It doesn't have to be money. It could be your time. It could be whatever you can, because I know you believe this. When you give, the universe is going to, really repay you back tenfold. You're going to
just how you feel when you give.
Yeah,
that is tenfold.
That is tenfold right there. So, yeah, I agree a lot with that. So I'm looking at my board here. We went through tradition, which basically for you, not a lot of tradition with money. You pretty much had to figure it out from a very young age.
I did.
And you really didn't figure it out till you were 64, which we said it's okay, right? And then we went down the journey of mindset, understanding like it is a journey. You will, as you should, have a different mindset shift throughout your life as you are learning different things. And we talked about investing, and you're an entrepreneur, so you don't invest the traditional way through a job, but you invest. I know your son's taught you a lot about investing, and you're kind of following his guidance, which is great because he's doing phenomenal. Any advice with some of the single moms out there in the investing world that you would give to them?
Well, gold and silver is always a wonderful investment, and then you have it. And if you ever need it, you have it. But if you don't need it, your kids will have it, and it'll never lose value. I always have a big suggestion too, is to get yourself a good network marketing business. And the reason, and it doesn't matter what it is, but make it something that you would purchase yourself. Always great if it's something you can consume, because that can be a plan B. You never know. And it's residual. For me, the best advice I ever got was residual. Residual income, whether it be rentals from homes that you own or a business, whatever it is, residual. So I get a residual check, several of them actually, because I have several residual businesses every week. Right. Every week. So honestly, the business, my actual brick and mortar, is just, all of my businesses really are just wonderful. I love them all. I love what I do. But my brick and mortar is really my passion. More than anything else, and I do very well financially, but it's not about that at all.
I think what I'm hearing here is, which is a great lesson, is I think this is 2020. In today's world, we all need to have multiple streams of income.
Multiple.
Right? We cannot depend on one source of income, right? A job.
No.
So even for you guys that are out there that have jobs and you're just kind of struggling, we need to have some will call it a side hustle. You would call it whatever you want to call it, but a multiple streams of income. So you've acquired yourself multiple streams of income, which puts you in a safe place financially, that when you lay your head down at night, you're not freaking out about paying whatever bill, right? The power bill, the phone bill, the mortgage, whatever, because you have multiple streams of residual income coming in. That one's huge. That's a big lesson for you guys out there. And for some of you out there that think, I don't have time for a residual for another stream of income. I'm too busy. My job's, 50 hours a week. I got 2 kids at home. I've got kids. I got that. There's time.
Always.
There's time. You have to make the time, even if you just put 2 extra hours per week into whatever this little side hustle to make a few extra bucks. It will add up. It will add up quickly, and you just stick to it. It will grow. It will compound. You will have a second. You'll have a third source, and then multiple streams of income is what ultimately is what's going to get you to your financial independence. Let your money make money, support your lifestyle.
Correct.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was really enlightening. I hope a lot of you, the big takeaway here with Cheri-Lynn is that she had an amazing life in almost 2 lives, because when you restarted at that 64 and you got there really quickly, you're not even a whole 10 years and you put yourself in a great place. That it's never too late. Keep going at it. Follow your passions. Invest your money. Get a mentor. and just keep learning. Awesome. Cheri-Lynn, thanks for coming out. I appreciate sharing. I know a lot of people out there are really doing some serious thinking right now, a little mindset shifting. So thanks for coming out. And you know what? I want to do it again. What about you?
Oh, I'd love to.
Okay. All right, guys. You guys have a good week out there. Don't forget, subscribe to my channel. And we got a lot more stories coming to you. All right, guys. Take care.
Hey everybody, hope you enjoyed that episode. Really enjoyed making all these episodes for you. Remember, we're just having conversations with people's journey with money and the things they did right with it, the things that did wrong with it, and how did they really come about getting their mindset with money. So every episode's different. We all have a good takeaway from them. So do me a favor, hit the like button, smash the like button, and subscribe to my channel, because every episode that I do is going to be different, as all our journeys are different. So you guys take care, and we'll talk to you next week.